always full. So, all right, we're golden. So this is going to be a new thing we're going to try out. If you guys love it, we'll keep going. If it's so, we'll reevaluate and see how to make it better for it. Not that Julie and Gemma are going to be, they're going to kill it. But what we're going to do is the first Monday of every month, I thought it would be really neat to highlight an up-and-coming leader on our team. So those of you that are newer and just pushing for some big goals can be inspired by them. And then also feature their upline so that you guys that are in the leadership role can learn how they lead somebody like that. So I thought it would kind of like kill the best of both worlds, kill two birds with one stone, inspire everybody. So no matter what level you're at or where you're at in your business, you can have a takeaway from this call. And what better opportunity to get your foot in the door with leadership than be recognized on our team calls. So I can't wait to see who fills our next few month slots. I can't wait to see all sorts of brand new fresh faces sharing what's working for them, and we get to kind of just celebrate their success as a team, and really just hear from them, because that's the cool part about this business. We always have to be learning, and we always have to be open to figuring out what's working right now and what's working for other people, because what I preach and teach in our new coach training or this, that, or the other might not be what works for you. You guys hopefully all caught Alexa's Q&A last week. She killed it, and she was like, I like this method and I tweaked it this way to fit my life, and this is what works for me. And that's what you do. That's what a leader does. They take something, they modify, they make it their own, and they rock it, So we want to give you just tons of ideas. A few announcements for you guys today. First of all, those of you that are on your computer, I would love if you went to the chat right now and you just blew up your favorite takeaway from the National Wake Up Call today. I have so many freaking notes. That was the best call ever. No offense, and I'm not calling anybody out specifically, but this a lot lately, especially because of this amazing news of the sale of All Access, it was all of a sudden like everybody forgot that we don't sell and we don't spam, and everybody just vomited spam like immediately. It was like a flu bug when we heard this sale, and not just on the whole network. It was like they caught this flu and everyone just started vomiting and puking out sales and spam and stuff like that. But like Shalene said on the call, it's not because we're doing it from a good place, because we're excited, right? Like, we're so pumped. This is the best deal ever. We can't like contain our excitement, but we have to remember that that's what's selling. We have to remember that we need to share that sale through telling our story. And she had so many incredible nuggets that I was just like, so freaking good. So good. I love those. Oh, good. Chat. Oh, good call, Laura. I didn't know that. Chat works on iPhones too. Then everybody should be. Don't be an infomercial. Share yourself. Yes, absolutely. I loved her tips about going live, and we kind of talked about that. Those of you that saw that little video I shared from Bob Hellig, really, that's kind of where this is all going, and how to really get your Facebook affinity up now, and where social media is at right now. Live video is like the best place to do it. Tell your story, random stories. Yeah, did you guys all pick out like your 5 things that you want to talk about? And I want to encourage you, if you're not ready to go live, take those 5 things and put them into a post, but share those 5 things, Don't not share those things just because you might not be ready to not go live. Oh my gosh, Jen, you dork. Beware of what selling looks like. Yeah, Candace, that's a great thing. I think that a lot of us kind of forget that sometimes we're just like she said with the sale, we're so passionate and excited about something. We don't feel like we're selling, but we have to sometimes put ourselves in our audience's shoes and look at what we're sharing and maybe how we can share it in a better way to inspire them. Because she's like, you just doing your workouts. And I liked how she talked about quit saying BOD. No one knows what BOD is, and I thought that was really, really good too, because we do have to be more specific. We do have to be, and that comes with the whole value thing. That's how you share the value, is how you're telling the story behind the selfie with the Shakeology cup, like, for example, Carly had a wonderful post tonight. She posted her book that she's reading and her Shakeology, and she was real and she was raw, and she was not just like, here's a picture of my shake today. It was like, you know what? Life is a hot mess right now, and I'm so thankful because I don't have a single grocery in my house, but I got my superfoods. Boom. Like, she's telling a little bit about her life and why she's so thankful for that shake today. Not, telling the story behind the photo. So don't forget about that. That's super important. Where are my notes? Sorry, I'm all over the place. Little bit of news. I don't know if this has even been shared in Fit Forward yet, but you guys all know we have the first week of every month, we do the live What is Coaching Happy Hour event that has been working so insanely well for our team. We used to do a 3-day group. It's going to be this Thursday from 8:30 to 9:30. We will be running it in a private Facebook group. I will share that group link in Fit Forward after this call. The special twist on this group this month is it's going to be titled around learn how to grow your wings and fly. Learn how to take a leap and jump, like learn how to chase those dreams. So for the first 2 days before the event even kicks off, we're going to be loading it up with little tips and tricks, just getting them thinking, what do you want to do with life? Like, what have you been scared to do that you haven't done yet? What's holding you back? Really kind of pulling those things out of them, and then really just encouraging them with stories of how leaders on our team have chased their dreams, whether it's about coaching or not, just in general with life, how to truly just take those leaps and go after what you feel you are meant to do. And then we'll round it all off and we'll close it out for the live event. So you guys can either invite to that group so they have a little 2-day sneak peek into all that info, or you can just invite to Thursday 8:30 to 9, whatever you want to do, whatever fits your business, whatever fits what's going on right now in your agenda. I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on that. I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. I can't wait for it. We have a really great group of leaders that are helping out with this round, so I'm excited for that. In May, on the docket, I am partnering up with a handful of other 6 to 8 star diamonds in the central region. Actually, one of them was ranked number 1 in the entire network. She's the one that beat out Melanie Mitro, Jamie Innes. So there's a handful of us, and we are piling together to provide our teams a social media boot camp. It's going to be just 3 weeks, 21 days, and we thought it would be really powerful to take the best social media practices from all of our different teams and give that. There's one that runs, for example, hers solely on her blog. There's one that runs hers solely on a like page. So it will really be just tons of info and things that where you can plug into, okay, I want to work on Instagram, so I'm going to pay attention to these few days. I want to learn this, so I'm going to pay attention to these few days, and really give you some good takeaways. So I'm pumped about that. I like a social media kind of house spring cleaning for all of our practices, and it's good to do every year, I think, too, anyways, because of how much social media changes and the algorithms and all that jazz. And then last but not least, I did go live in the leaders page and share this. I wanted to apologize to you guys for how last night, those of you that are going to Summit, that link for that gathering was kind of just thrown at you. I didn't get a heads up that that was going to be shared. I always like to be the first to tell our team what's going on and fill them in. And so I felt really terrible when that was just shared in that group, and I had to quickly just throw the link in Fit Forward and not give you guys a heads up, and it sold out in like 2 hours. Obviously, we're not chipping in, splitting the cost of renting out this entire venue and hosting this large event for our teams to not be present. So we did find a solution. We are opening it up to about 1,200 tickets. We haven't had the contracts and stuff signed yet, so that's not open yet, but it will be. And this, every year at Summit, I try to do some sort of team gathering, and as we grow, it gets harder and harder. So Jen and Nikki and Davies and I and all of us, we kind of came together and we're like, how can we do this on a big level where we can give our teams an opportunity to be in one place and just kind of get to know everybody at the same time? And that's kind of how this was born. We will do a Q&A panel. We'll kind of each do a couple little tidbits, so like mini trainings with golden nuggets, and then a fully catered event. So it's going to be fantastic. I don't have any fear that you guys will go without a ticket if you do want to be present for that. So keep your eyes peeled for that new link or updated link. I will post about it as soon as I get details. That is all I have. I'm going to shut my mouth and I'm going to hand it over to Julie, and she can do the special. You guys, Julie, well, I could make this call about Julie. I love Julie. She is one of my most special coaches. I could tell you, the whole call could be about how we met and our story. It's really, really cool. But she's just a rock star, and she is the definition of consistency. She's a definition of making something hard, always seeing the bright side of things and always turning her trials into triumphs and just persevering through whatever is thrown at her. She never uses the "I can't find a business coach" excuse. She just keeps working. If she does have something to vent about or get off her chest, the next second she's doing something about it. So that's the difference between, recognizing what's not working and doing something about it when it's not. So she's a fantastic leader. She runs an incredible team, and I can't wait for her to share her experience with one of her no offense, Jay, but we're going to highlight Gemma tonight. Oh, let me unmute you.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
That was so nice. You're going to make me cry before I have to try and do this whole call tonight. But thanks. Yes, coaching's been so amazing. And I guess I'll introduce Gemma a little bit. You guys have to give us grace because this is like our first time doing this call format too. So we're like the guinea pigs. And we were just talking like, okay, we'll see how this goes. So.
Well, and to that point, Julie, yeah, I'm sorry I didn't explain that. I wanted this to be super laid back. I didn't want them to come with PowerPoints. I wanted them to just talk back and forth, like say, you're great at this. How did you become great at this? You do great at this. What did you do to learn that? And just so we can all just kind of feel like we're in the middle of a brainstorm. So just roll with it, girl.
Yeah. So just so you guys have a little tiny bit of a backstory, and I'll have Gemma share part of her story too, but Gemma and I did not know each other before this. So I met her on Instagram, which is honestly where I meet probably 90% of my people, my coaches and my challengers. And she was a follower of House of Jars originally, and then came when I did the fitness, and she watched me for a long time, and I reached out to her and we talked, but I'll let her share the rest of it. But I just have to say that Gemma is we're like the same person. It's pretty crazy. Like the more that I get to know her, the more I feel like everything about her is like me, which is like so awesome. And when you guys have coaches that are like that like you literally like can have a whole conversation and they're like tracking with you. And her whole life is basically mine, like everything about her. So that's why I really wanted to highlight her today, because I feel like she's a new coach. She signed up like at the very end of December, beginning of January, and like has been learning and really absorbing everything. But I feel like she's really like starting to spread her wings. So I'm very proud of her. But anyway, Gemma, you can share a little bit about yourself.
Well, my story is, like Julie said, I followed her on Instagram forever, and she happened to reach out to me at just the right time. And it's like everybody keeps saying, these conversations are so important because you never know who really needs you at that time. And I needed her help. And I'm a mom of four. I work from home. I'm a graphic designer. I work a lot of hours. I run my own business, and I had gained a lot of weight after my fourth was born. And I had lost who I was. Like I didn't know the person that I was anymore. And when Julie reached out to me, she literally, I mean, it sounds hokey, but she like saved me, really. And then when she asked me to become a coach, well, I joined her challenge group. I started my transformation. She asked me to become a coach, and she said she was nervous asking me. And I think it brought down deep. I was waiting for her to ask me because that's what I needed at the time. And I'm so glad I took that leap. And I honestly, you guys, didn't even think twice. Like it was like Christmas break or something. And I was going to order the reset. That's what I was going to do, the reset. And she's like, well, you might want to think about being a coach. I'm like, okay. Like, it was the easiest decision ever. It really was.
I totally psyched myself out because like I love Gemma, and so I felt like, oh my gosh, like I don't know how to ask her, which is so dumb because like I talk to people about it all the time, but for someone who like I really look up to or I really like think is awesome, like it was like, oh, I remember on that day I told Brittany, I think I'm gonna ask Gemma to be a coach, but she was like a rock star challenger. Like, you guys have to know, like, her the one part of her story that I think is important, well the whole story is, but when I first reached out to her, she told me, yes, I really want to do this, but my kids are out of school right now. So like when they're back in school, and I get it, I have 4 kids too. So she's like, when they're back in school, then I think that will be the time. So she was sort of still in that like excuses sort of mindset. And I followed right back up with her when her kids went back to school, and then she signed up, and she was like the perfect challenger from the beginning. Like and you guys, she never bought 21 Day Fix for me. She had already had it. And I was like, it's okay. I felt like she was going to be amazing. And I knew like I wanted to help her. And so, yeah, it's crazy to like look back on the whole story, but that's the importance of follow-up. That's one thing I wanted to say to you guys. Like when I reached out to Gemma and she told me her story, I felt like, oh my gosh, she's living my life. Like, this is who I want to help. Like, this is someone that I feel so passionate about helping. And so I made sure that I followed up with them. But that's one thing that I always tell people is you have to think about those conversations. And when you're talking to people, that she needed me to reach out to her at that time. And if I hadn't, I mean, I don't know where she'd be right now. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I just like, I know that like she's changed my life and I've changed hers, and it's really cool. But anyway.
I mean, if you think about, like, I am a completely different person than I was when you reached out to me last summer. Mm-hmm. And I needed the confidence back. I just needed everything. And, you know, and that just goes to show you how important it is for a coach to be, like, you could have easily disregarded me because I already had the program. I was buying nothing from you. So you easily could have put that aside. You just have to want to be really as God that's hard anybody. And you have still doing me now if I hadn't bought anything. I know for a fact. I mean, she's not one of these coaches that turns you away and doesn't challenge you not purchasing. So
I make it a select few though, just so you guys know.
Yeah, definitely, but it all works out.
Yeah. So Gemma's been a coach for a couple months now, and I think in the beginning, for the first few weeks, like, we didn't have the training that Sarah created. Mm-hmm. And so I was just like kind of giving her some tips and, you know, ideas and things that I did, but she was going to talk a little bit, I want her to talk anyway, a little bit about like that process of a new coach and like how, like what trainings were good for her or what things helped you and, you know, stuff like that.
I mean, honestly, in the beginning, I was extremely overwhelmed. And I think if I started as a coach today, it would be a completely different story. And I think we're so lucky to have Sarah to put that whole training together for us, because up until that point, before the training existed, like me joining and being a new coach, I had no freaking idea what was going on. Like, that coach online office, what the heck? Like, I couldn't find anything. I asked Julie, I literally texted her all the time. And I remember the first time, like she'd gone over things too. It's just really hard to sink in when it's coming from different places. And I know you all can relate when you find something somewhere and you're like, oh, that's it. And then like 2 days later, you're like, what the heck was that? Like, I don't know where that was. I can't find that again. I mean, it was so frustrating. So now, like with Sarah's training, being able to have it all in one place is so great. And I haven't even finished the whole training. I'm still working through it. And Julie and I had chatted a little bit about this, that I am in no hurry to finish it. You know, I am taking it so super slow. I'm not in a rush to post that certificate because that's not the point. Like I want to go through each section and really understand what I'm reading and learning and being able to remember where it is so I can go back to it. I think it's so super important. And after I'm done with it, I'm going to give it 6 months, and I think I'm going to do it again because, you know, as a new coach, you're looking at things one way, and as a coach that's 6 months or a year down the line, you're looking at things completely different. So I think that's going to be beneficial down the road.
Yeah, we were just talking, like, even just like the abbreviations that we veteran coaches use, like SC or like AACP, and people are probably like new coaches like, what does that even mean? And I remember I had to Google everything because I'm like, I don't know what they're even talking about. And when I first started, it was like 5532, and I'm like, what does that mean? You know? So I was telling Gemma, like, yes, when you're doing the training, yeah, in the beginning, when you first go through it as a new coach, half the stuff it's not going to really sink in. But that's why like 6 months later, when you're actually doing it and everything is happening, like, and you go back through it and you're like, oh yeah, that's what they meant. And I'm so happy that we have that. Honestly, it's like a game changer. It's so good.
And I see people go through it and like post, I finished the training in 7 hours. I'm like, no, you didn't. Like, you did not read it all. I know for a fact because there was one section that I spent like 4 days on going through all the videos. So you could not. And I didn't skip ahead at all. Like, and I'm on section like 2 or something. So no way.
Yeah. So, that's what
Gotta go slow.
Funny. Okay, so like you guys heard, Gemma is a mom of 4. She works from home, is a graphic designer. Like, she's probably the busiest person I've ever met. Like I mean, really, that's, I think, part of the reason why I was a little bit nervous to ask her to coach, because I know that there's like a time commitment. And so I was a little bit nervous, but like, she is the queen of multitasking, the queen of, you know, webinars on one screen, and like, just like me, like the same way, like just trying to learn all the time. And so she has implemented some things in her business that are maybe different than some other coaches that have a little bit more time. But I wanted her to talk a little bit about like her time management and multitasking and things that, like, little tips that she does.
Yeah. So I have 4 kids, and the youngest is in kindergarten this year. So I have a kindergartner. So I have a 6-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 16-year-old. So I have kindergarten and I have high school. Like they just span everything. So I have so many things going on at so many times. As soon as I think I have something figured out, I have a high school issue, or I forgot something to bring in a kindergarten. It's just literally insane. And then running my own business. So this is the first year that I have had all 4 kids out of the house in 16 years. Like, I have been working at home with children for 16 years because I'm a freelance graphic designer. And I Skype clients and I have deadlines. Sometimes I have 20 ads due in one day, and I do that. And I just think of the days doing it, nursing a baby, and then throwing a cover on the baby because I'm Skyping a client and, you know, answering, I mean, literally a million things. So my multitasking now doesn't really even feel that bad because I've been doing like all of you have, being a mom or having a job or, you know, running a household. There's just so many things that we do at once that it just, you kind of like roll with the flow. So my daily life, my daily routine, I'm sitting at the computer. I have my work on my screen. I have my second screen. I have, you know, the TKO Diamond training videos running, or I have Sarah's, you know, new coach training things running. And I'm, doing an ad, fixing a logo, watching the video. I have my iPad on my desk with messages I'm replying to people. I don't do any group messaging. Like, you're supposed to do 10 a day or 5 a day. I don't do that. I just reply to messages throughout the day. I don't have time. So I save all my messaging for the weekend, and I block off 3 hours on a Saturday or a Sunday. I just crank them out. Like this weekend, I texted Julie. I'm like, okay, I've sent 35 new conversations. Can I stop for now? Because I can't feel my fingers anymore. She's like, take a break. So I just say that. I just have a different workflow. And my point being is, like, not everyone's workflow is for everyone. Like, you can go through the trainings and your coach could say, you have to message 5 people a day or 5 new conversations. And it just may not work for you. You have to do what works, because that's the only way you're going to make progress in your business and, feel like you're moving forward, because, but I do something with my business every day. I'm always posting. Every single day I'm posting on my Instagram and on Facebook. And I'm always responding to messages, and I'm always doing some kind of training. And that's not like one day, that's every day.
Yeah. Your posts, you guys, side note, like, her posts are very, like, she doesn't just pop posts up there to put posts up. She, like, really thinks about what her posts are, and what she puts up is good. Like, it's good content. It's like, it looks nice. Like, everything is always really well. And she has people who are messaging her from those posts. And I think that's a big key too. Like, so she's still having conversations during the week. It just looks a little bit different because she is actually doing so well with their posts that people are messaging her, and as a new coach, we all know that hardly ever happens. So going back through, like, messages with that is really a big thing that she does too.
Yeah. I remember hearing somebody way early on, one of the top leaders, say, one of the most important things is post with a purpose. It doesn't matter if you're posting 5 times a day, if it's random pictures of this, random pictures of that, people are going to tune you out. Every single post has to be with something that has to do with bettering your business or bettering, and it doesn't have to be Beachbody. Like, I hardly ever scream Beachbody. It's, I'm walking out the door and I really would like a Starbucks, but I haven't energized because I just worked out, or whatever, it's little things. Or, I post a lot of meal pictures. And you know what I do? I look at my Instagram, and I think Sarah has touched on this before. She does it on her Facebook, but I do it on Instagram. I do this religiously every morning. I look at my Instagram, like, when you can see the squares, and I see, what have I not done, like, lately? I have. And if you look at my Instagram, I don't want to say a pattern, but it kind of is. It's like, there's a workout picture. There's a picture of me and my kids. There's a picture of my food. There's a picture of a Shakeology or Energize. It's not all food. It's not all workout. It's not all Shakeology. It's a very good variety. And I think that's important, because I was telling Julie, I'm not nearly to the point where I'm trying to approach a cold market, but I need to build up the people that are following me and make these relationships, because I only have so many friends and family, and when they all have bought things from me or said, not now, then what am I going to do? I'm just going to be sitting here twiddling my thumbs. So I need to.
What's really important to point out is that you already have the mentality of a few steps ahead as a newer coach. And I think that that's why we're all so confident that you are going to do amazing things with this, because you're not I'm going to post and see what comments are left on that one post. She's like, I'm going to talk about this next week, so that flows into my challenge group, so that challenge group will flow into the What is Coaching event. Like, that 10 steps ahead mentality, because she's confident that it doesn't matter how many comments are left in that post. She's going to be rocking it in those 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks ahead,
Yeah.
I would love, Gemma, if you shared, one thing that Julie did that was helpful as a leader to somebody like you who wanted to run the business, and one thing that you wish you would have done differently getting started, or maybe giving yourself more grace for, or not been afraid of, or just something? Sorry, my internet.
Well, Julie is, I feel as a leader because she is, her energy literally just comes out onto you. Like you can't help but get excited and want to do what she's doing. She does such a good job at it. And on the other side, she's not just my coach, like she's my friend now. And like the community that we've built, like our little team, is pretty darn amazing. So that is one of the things, like that is one of the things that she does fantastic, is being just an example of, you know, how to live your life, and, you know, how to be spiritual, and how to have a great relationship with your husband, and how to be a wonderful mother, and how to be a great coach, and how to be a great leader, and how to be a great friend. Like she does all that so well that, are you crying? Like,
Yes, stop. I'm crying, everything.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so nice. Anyway. Okay.
So, you know, I just feel blessed to have her. So she's a good leader. What I wish I would have done differently in the beginning, when as a new coach, so like you have to do called action Sunday, you know, throwback Tuesday, transfer, all these things, like every day there's a thing you have to do. It freaking stressed me out. Like, I can't tell you. I went from like, I would spend hours trying to think, what am I going to do? What am I going to post? I have no transformation yet. So like, if I were to go back, I would have said, just freaking screw it all. Like, post what's in your heart, be organic. Do not follow the schedule. Like, if you look at my posts, I'm such a rebel. I will post a transformation picture. Get this, on a Friday. Like, oh my gosh. I know. And it's like, I don't care if it's not going to get the same likes or whatever, but you know, everyone's posting theirs on a Tuesday. So maybe it's a little different and it works for me.
No. I think you're in the veteran mentality. What we're giving in the new coach mentorship is just for that. It's new coaches that can't think outside of the box, that need that structure and that guidance. You're like, no, I'm going to do it where I get more views because I'm going to go against the grain. Again, it's a 10 steps ahead mentality.
It so stressed me out, Sarah. Let me tell you, like, I couldn't even tell you.
Oh man, I'm glad you made it your own though. That's what's cool though. See, the thing about, and why you're on this call right now, one of many, just what you just said, is that it stressed you out. It was overwhelming. It was scary. But guess what you did? You freaking did it anyways. You just did it in a way that fit you. 90% of the other people give up because that scares them off. And you didn't, and that's why you're here. So I think that that's so key. I'm glad that you brought that up.
And there were moments in the beginning, I'm not going to lie, where, you know, it's overwhelming and I can't think of a post. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, what is this for? Like, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I taking away from my family? Like, I even texted Julie the other day. I'm like, I haven't watched TV in 4 months. Like, I don't even know who won The Bachelor. Like, I'm so far out of it that I haven't even looked at the newsstand. Like, I'm so out of that right now because I have a bigger mission at the moment and it's going to pay off. I just have to like keep going, like one step ahead, you know?
What was the biggest thing that you felt like in the beginning was those first few things that were happening for you that kept giving you that extra bit of confidence? Because I think a lot of problems that newer coaches have when they don't feel like they're gaining traction or reaching their goals or whatever, they lose sight of those little wins. What were some of your little wins that you might want to encourage the newer coaches on this call to focus on?
Well, even in the beginning, I mean, I didn't have a bunch of people buying things in the beginning, and I just kept posting what I'm doing and posting my transformation, even though it wasn't much in the beginning. And people would message me, like friends and family, saying, how happened for me and how I had, encouraged them and been a motivation for them. And like, as I got them relative, which I hadn't talked to in 3 years, probably, saying like what a huge motivation I was to her and how she really wanted to make a change. So these little things I've now printed off and put in my binder. So like, if I'm having a day where I'm like, no one is ever going to buy a challenge pack again from me, like, I'm just sure I'll just go look in that binder. I'm like, it doesn't matter if anyone's buying anything from me right now, because I'm making a difference in people's lives. And, people are better because of me right now. And that's kind of what matters.
I love that. That's so amazing. I'm just so inspired by you and your energy and your confidence to just go for this, and so many things are popping into my head that I wish that we could dissect and really point out to these new coaches, because so not even new coaches, just anybody on this call, but they might be listening to you thinking that this just all seems like it's just part of your nature. But look at all the things that you've just covered in what you just said, how much you've sacrificed. That's another thing, like another reason why you're on this call, because you were willing to sacrifice, and you still are sacrificing until you reach those goals that you want to reach. It's not a gray area mentality for you. It's black or white, And I think that that's what's so cool about listening to you and how you've kind of taken this and just run with it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, guys, my internet is kind of sketchy right now. Julie, can you hear me, or are you frozen?
I can hear you.
Okay, because your face is frozen on my end. I would love to ask you real quick before we run out of time, as a leader to somebody like Gemma, who is clearly just like amazing, like one of the, I see why you were scared to invite her, because she would be like that person that seems too good to be true. Why would they want to join you? That doubt like starts to creep in your head. But with somebody like that, what do you do as her leader to continue to know when to push her when you already know that she has so much on her plate? When you already know that, she has so much going on, how do you continue to push her to levels that she is capable of? Because this is a top coach right here,
I think for me and for Gemma, we're texting all the time. So when no, you don't have to do that with all your coaches, but like we have a special relationship, I think. But when she's telling me, because there was a time before I realized she wasn't messaging every single day, and she told me, I just can't do it, Julie. I can't message that many people in a day. And I said, well, can you do it like in one day instead? Have it all be on one day? And so I'm just like really trying to like hear what she's saying, because it's not going to work for her. And like she's not going to quit, because I know like this is a big deal for her, but I want to make it work for her. And so just like listening to what she's saying and what is working for her, and then giving her advice. But we also have a team call every week. And so I think that helps a lot, like hearing from everybody else in our team. And I try to talk about our whys a lot. Like I really for me, talking about your why and talking about, and you guys know this about me, but like finding one thing you're every day, like, big deal for me. And so I'm constantly talking. So I think, and her as a successful, driven, like woman who was like me, and I'm like us, but it was still intimidating to me. And I didn't know anything about her, like her personal life or her story, but I didn't realize how much she needed this too. So anyway, but yeah, I just try and listen to what she's saying and what is working for her and what's not. And I wasn't going to say, well, too bad, you're going to have to message your 5 a day. And I'm like, no, that would have never worked for her, and it wouldn't have. But that kind of tough love might work for another one of my coaches. But for Gemma, I knew no, I know that you can get, she's not saying she doesn't want to message. She's just saying she couldn't do it every single day. So I think that in the last few weeks, we've really done that.
The important thing too is that Gemma comes to you with those things,
Mm-hmm.
like so many times people are afraid to say what's not working because they don't want to be a bother or a burden or ask for help or whatever. But I love that you two have that open you know, Julie couldn't help Gemma, like she's saying, if Gemma didn't come to Julie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hope you guys take away from this call that my biggest takeaway is that it's a two-way street, right? They give and take off of each other. It's not one person sucking from each relationship. No matter if Gemma can realize it right now or not, she gives to Julie just as much as Julie might give to her, and vice versa. So I think that this is a really powerful call. I loved hearing both sides. I hope if you guys have any questions, if you know, drop them in the chat, because I want to allow you guys to have an opportunity to pick their brains a little bit. But I think it was really fun to see that dynamic in action from two incredibly inspiring people in our team right now, always. But
yeah, one last tip I would say for Gemma is that she's really focusing on quality versus quantity. Like, she's not trying to reach diamond super fast.
mm-hmm.
She's trying to reach diamond with the people that she really wants on her team. And so I really find that very encouraging and motivating, because I know, you know, diamond is a big goal, but it doesn't have to happen fast.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I'm sorry, you guys, my screen is frozen, so all of your faces are frozen right now, so I can't see unless you drop a question in the chat if anybody's like trying to talk. I'm not trying to be rude. Brianna says there's a lot of coaches excited to start and then don't carry through. It's so important to see the ones that truly want this. Yeah, meet them at their level. Yeah, absolutely.
And when you do have one, like a special diamond in the rough like Gemma, like, it makes you, like, I was kind of in a place where I didn't have a lot of business coaches at the time. I mean, Brittany is my ride or die. She's always been there, but like, I was sort of in this place where I didn't. And so I think that's why I was nervous to ask her, because I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't want another one to be like, yes, and not do it. And so I really took a lot of care in Gemma. Like, I really tried my best to like raise her up and, you know, like help her as much as I could. And so I think that has been really good for me too. And I mean, you have to see that your coach is giving you something back. Like, they're trying hard, like what Brianna's saying. Like, I mean, sometimes coaches are going to say, oh, it's not working, but they haven't done anything, like haven't gone through any of the trainings. And so that's like, for me right now, I'm like, well, did you do the training? Like, I don't come asking me yet, like, do some of the training, you know? So, and Gemma did, like, before we even had this training, she was like asking questions and Googling it herself and looking at the FAQ and all that stuff. So she really showed me that she was like trying, that she really wanted this.
Julie, I'm so glad that you just said that, because with the whole two-way street thing, it wasn't like Gemma was just, you know, yes, they have an open door policy, but it wasn't like Gemma was like, Julie, how do I invite her, or this isn't working, or, you know, like Julie, I think, and I don't mean to speak, Gemma, you can attest to this, but I feel like Julie is, you could tell, the nicest person in the world, but she's got a way of making tough love present too, and making people learn on their own, you know? So she didn't just spoon feed Gemma all this. As you can see, Gemma had 3 freaking computers in front of her all the time, you know, like, she was hustling. It wasn't like she just went to that open door all the time. And that's why I think it's such a magical, you know, relationship that they have.
And if you do that with your coaches in the beginning, then it gives them wings to do it later.
Yes.
Like, you're not having to be, just like, I mean, I have a challenger right now, you guys, Sarah and those who is sucking the life out of me because she's constantly needing.
I can't even imagine, Julie, what you're going through right now. It stresses me out thinking about it.
And will not look up. You have to accept the stuff the same way. Google is amazing. Like, Google has all your answers in the world.
Yep.
So.
Like, when they ask us, we're looking it up the same way they could look it up.
Yeah. Ugh. Anyway.
And that's probably not a challenger that's going to get a coaching invite, you know, because we're not about numbers. We're about quality. We're about the people that have that potential. I'm not going to invite somebody if I know it would destruct them, like it would be way too much for them to process. It would be so stressful for them. You invite the people that is really truly going to bless their life. Like you believe that, and that's when your invites are genuine. But I hope you guys really enjoy. I know I loved I could listen to them chat all night. If you guys like this format, if you think you want to continue this, we can give it another whirl for May and highlight some new leaders. But congratulations, Gemma, you really do have incredible success in your business so far. Ranks aside, goals aside, your mentality alone is a success worthy of being highlighted on a call like this. So thank you so much for sharing your heart and your time and your brain. And Julie, your leadership just shines each and every day completely. I don't even need to go there, but I love you guys and I'm so thankful for you both. I hope you love this team. Let us know your feedback, and I will post the links to that happy hour right after this call as well as the recording to this. But thank you guys. Everybody blow up the chat with some thank yous for Julie and Gemma.
Thanks, guys.
Mwah!
Mm-hmm.